A single dad rents a room to a college girl, not realizing she's the daughter of a millionaire. A simple handwritten notice, tacked onto the weather-beaten bulletin board at Willow Street College, caught Rachel Morgan's eye. Room for rent. Quiet area. Affordable. Call Adam. Most students passing by that morning wouldn't have given it a second thought, certainly not guessing the chain of events it would unleash. Rachel, however, paused. Her fingers brushed the faded ink. While her peers often scoffed at such listings, joking about desperate students and cramped houses, Rachel felt an undeniable pull toward the words. A strange instinct whispered that this wasn't just about securing a place to stay. It was about to change everything. Adam Carter, a 38-year-old widower, had penned that notice with a heavy heart. As an office clerk, his modest salary barely covered rent, utilities, and the needs of his vibrant 8-year-old daughter, Emma. Their small home, with its creaking floors and peeling paint, was filled with Emma's laughter, yet also echoed the profound silence left by his late wife. Renting out the upstairs wasn't a choice. It was a necessity, a desperate attempt to keep their world together. Rachel dialed the number. Hello. The voice on the other end was deep, weary, and guarded. Hi, I saw your notice. Is the room still available? A long pause followed, making Rachel wonder if she'd called the wrong person. Finally, a quiet reply. Yes, you can come by today if you'd like. The Carter house was nestled at the far end of a narrow lane, almost hidden between two tall hedges. Rachel paused on the curb, suitcase in hand. For a young woman accustomed to private drivers, bodyguards, and sprawling mansions, this modest street felt like an entirely different world. But that was precisely the point. No one here knew she was Rachel Morgan, daughter of Richard Morgan, one of the city's most powerful businessmen, and she intended to keep it that way. Adam opened the door, his dark hair a bit disheveled, shirt sleeves rolled up, and a careful kindness in his eyes. He assessed Rachel instantly, not with judgment, but with the protective instinct of a father. You're Rachel, he asked. She nodded. Before he could say more, a tiny figure peered from behind his legs. Wide, curious eyes, messy brown pigtails, and a worn stuffed rabbit clutched tight. Is she the one, Daddy? The little girl whispered loudly. Rachel let out a soft chuckle. Adam cleared his throat. This is my daughter, Emma. She'll be around a lot. If that's a problem. It's not, Rachel interjected gently, bending to Emma's level. Hi there, I'm Rachel. Emma studied her for a long moment, then broke into a wide grin. You can stay. You look nice. It was such an innocent declaration that Adam, for the first time in days, couldn't help but smile. Upstairs, the room was simple. Bare walls, a small window facing the street, a bed with well-used sheets. For many it would have seemed too plain, but for Rachel it felt uniquely right. She placed her suitcase down, her heart a mix of anxiety and quiet contentment. Rent is due at the end of each month, Adam stated from the doorway, his tone still guarded. I'll be fair, and if you need anything, just knock. Rachel met his gaze, steady and composed. Thank you. I think this will work. She didn't mention that a single swipe of her card could have secured the city's most luxurious apartment, nor that her father would be furious knowing her whereabouts. For Rachel Morgan, this wasn't about luxury. It was about seeking something entirely different. Neither she nor Adam had any idea how profoundly this simple arrangement would alter their lives. Rachel's first night in the upstairs room was steeped in an unfamiliar quiet. She was accustomed to polished marble, echoing hallways, and the low hum of household staff. Here, the silence was punctuated only by the subtle creak of floorboards above her and Emma's occasional bursts of laughter drifting up from below. It lacked luxury, but it possessed something far more precious: authenticity. The next morning, Rachel woke to the inviting aroma of pancakes. Following the scent, she found Emma at the small kitchen table, swinging her legs, while Adam flipped breakfast in a well-worn pan. Emma saw her first. Good morning, Rachel, she chirped, waving her fork like a tiny wand. Adam looked up briefly. You don't have to come down, you know. Your part of the house has its own small kitchen. Rachel smiled. Yes, but I thought I could help. Help? Adam raised an eyebrow. You're a tenant, not a cook. Before Rachel could respond, Emma hopped from her chair. Can she help me with homework, Daddy? Please. Rachel knelt. What kind of homework? Math. Emma groaned dramatically, scrunching her nose. It's evil. Rachel laughed softly. I used to think the same thing. And just like that, the first delicate thread of their connection was woven. Over the following days, Rachel quickly found a routine. Mornings were for college, afternoons for coming home, and evenings often spent downstairs. She helped Emma with schoolwork, listened to her endless stories, and sometimes even read bedtime tales when Adam was late from work. Soon Emma began calling her big sister. One evening as Rachel braided Emma's hair, Adam stood in the doorway, arms crossed. His tired face softened, watching them. For years Emma had only known his care, his voice, his steadfast efforts. Though he never complained, Adam knew his daughter yearned for a motherly presence, a feminine warmth he couldn't provide. He cleared his throat. "She's taken quite a liking to you." Rachel looked up, a faint smile playing on her lips. "She's easy to like." Adam studied her a moment longer. There was something about Rachel, her refined manners, her articulate speech, even her confident bearing, that didn't quite align with the image of a struggling student. He pushed the thought away though. Everyone, he reasoned, had their secrets. Rachel's hidden life subtly surfaced in small details. Her sleek, expensive phone once flashed with a flurry of notifications from a Morgan family gala group chat, which she quickly silenced, dismissing it as nothing. When Emma asked if she'd ever dined at a fancy restaurant, Rachel merely smiled knowingly, redirecting the conversation to Emma's favorite food, chocolate chip cookies, which Rachel promised to bake. Later, when Adam's old car broke down, Rachel offered to cover repairs, framing it as knowing a cheap mechanic, an offer Adam politely declined, his pride outweighing his exhaustion. Yet her quiet kindness persisted. She'd bring groceries home, always claiming they were 2-for-1 deals, or slip new pencils into Emma's backpack, saying they were extras from college. Emma never questioned it, but Adam noticed. One late night after Emma was asleep, Adam stepped out to lock the gate and found Rachel on the porch, gazing at the stars. "Do you like it here?" he asked softly. Rachel turned, her green eyes catching the porch light. "More than I thought I would. Most students wouldn't want an old, creaky house with a single dad and a kid." Her smile was gentle, tinged with melancholy. "Most students aren't looking for what I'm looking for." Adam's brow furrowed, curiosity piqued. "And what's that?" Rachel hesitated, then whispered, "A place that feels like home." Adam didn't press for more. He simply nodded, though her words resonated deep within him long after he went inside. Neither of them realized then that the fragile threads of trust and belonging were already weaving into something far more valuable than any wealth or hardship could measure. Adam Carter was a master of frugality, stretching every penny as far as it could go. Rachel observed it in his small actions, pouring the last of the milk into Emma's cereal before filling his own cup with water, meticulously stitching the sole of his worn shoes instead of buying new ones, and walking Emma to school in the rain, his old coat shielding her while he himself got drenched. These quiet details spoke volumes to Rachel. Adam was a man who silently bore the weight of his world, never once asking for assistance. One Saturday morning Emma tugged Rachel's sleeve. "Rachel, Daddy said we can't go to the fun fair this year. Tickets cost too much." Her small voice wavered, though she tried to sound brave. "But I don't mind." Rachel's heart clenched. That evening she scoured the internet for discount vouchers, resolved to bring a smile to Emma's face. A week later, Emma shrieked with pure joy as the three of them entered the fairgrounds. When Adam eyed the tickets skeptically, Rachel quickly explained, they were free passes from college, a promotion. Adam narrowed his eyes but remained silent. Emma's infectious laughter was too precious to taint with suspicion. Rachel's quiet acts of generosity continued. She'd leave grocery bags on the counter with the familiar excuse of 2-for-1 deals. New notebooks appeared in Emma's school bag, attributed to extras from college professors. One morning when Adam's old car wouldn't start, Rachel arranged for a mechanic, leaving money in an envelope labeled college refund. Adam wasn't oblivious. He noticed. He simply didn't know how to address it. Pride and gratitude wrestled within him, but he allowed the benevolent charade to continue, partly because Rachel's kindness was extended with such genuine respect. One night after Emma had fallen asleep on the couch, cradling her stuffed rabbit, Adam gently covered her with a blanket. He then stepped onto the porch, finding Rachel sipping tea, her gaze lost in the distance. "You do a lot for us," Adam said softly. Rachel turned, startled. Well, Emma's like a little sister to me." He studied her. "You buy more than you should. Groceries, school supplies, even those fair tickets." Rachel's chest tightened. "Do you want me to stop?" Adam shook his head. "No, I just wonder why." Rachel hesitated, unable to reveal her true identity as a rich man's daughter seeking a simpler life. Instead, she whispered, "Because sometimes giving feels better than receiving." The next day, Adam's pride faced another challenge. Emma's shoes had worn through soles. He sighed, planning to patch them, but Rachel returned from college with a bright new pair, claiming they were from a friend who bought the wrong size. Emma shrieked, hugging Rachel tightly. "You're the best." Adam wanted to protest, but Emma's sheer joy silenced him. That night at his desk staring at bills, Adam reflected on how hard life had been since his wife's passing. Yet this young woman, his tenant, was subtly easing his burdens without asking for anything in return. Later that week, Emma pulled Rachel toward Adam in the living room. "Daddy, can Rachel stay forever?" she asked innocently. Adam chuckled, ruffling Emma's hair. "That's not how life works, sweetheart." A lump formed in Rachel's throat. Deep down she realized she wanted to stay too. While Adam still saw her as merely a kind student, the truth was far more complex. Soon, her hidden world would come dramatically knocking on his door. The revelation arrived on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Emma was happily sketching rainbows, while Rachel helped Adam with a leaky kitchen faucet. The atmosphere was typical, cozy. Another ordinary day in their unique household. Then a sleek black luxury car glided to a stop outside, its glossy paint reflecting the sun, its tinted windows concealing its occupants. It starkly contrasted with their humble street, their entire neighborhood. Adam frowned, wiping his hands on a towel. Now who could that be? Before Rachel could answer, the car door opened. A tall, impeccably dressed man emerged, his presence commanding, silver hair gleaming, shoes spotless. Neighbors peered through curtains, whispering. Rachel froze. She knew that car, that man. Rachel. Her father, Richard Morgan, called out, his voice cutting like a knife. "I've been looking everywhere for you." Emma blinked in confusion. Adam stepped protectively in front of her, his posture rigid. "Who are you?" Richard's sharp gaze landed on Adam, then softened momentarily for Emma, before returning to Rachel. "I'm her father, and she has no business living in a place like this." Gasps rippled from the watching neighbors. Adam turned to Rachel, searching her face. "Father." Rachel's throat tightened. She nodded slowly, guilt flickering in her green eyes. "This is my dad." Adam recoiled as if the ground had shifted. The tenant he'd welcomed wasn't merely a student. She was the daughter of one of the city's wealthiest men. Richard advanced, his voice laced with authority. "Pack your things, Rachel. You're coming home. Enough of this charade." Rachel shook her head. "Not yet. Not yet." His tone was incredulous. "You've been living in," he gestured at the modest house with disdain. "This place with strangers when you have a mansion, comfort, everything waiting for you at home?" Rachel's voice trembled, but her resolve was firm. "That's just walls and money. Here I found something more." Emma tugged at Rachel's hand, whispering, "Don't go." Richard glanced at the little girl, his expression momentarily softening, then hardening. "This man," he said, gesturing to Adam, "can't provide what you need. He can't protect you, Rachel. He can't give you the life you deserve." Adam's pride bristled. "I never claimed I could," he said firmly. "But she has been safe here and respected." Rachel stepped between them. "Dad, please. You don't understand. This family, Adam and Emma, they gave me something our mansion never could. Warmth. A sense of belonging." For a moment a heavy silence fell. The neighbors continued to watch, their whispers like a distant hum. Richard's jaw tightened. "Rachel, you're my daughter. Your place is with me, not here." Rachel met his eyes with quiet strength. "Perhaps I am your daughter. But here, for the first time, I felt like a sister, like part of a family that didn't see me as a name or a fortune. Just me." Her father faltered, the steel in his gaze cracking for an instant. He had never heard her speak with such conviction. Inside, Emma clung to Rachel's arm. "You're not leaving, right?" Rachel knelt, brushing back Emma's hair. "I don't want to. Not unless I have to." Adam stood silently, his emotions a tangled mess. He wanted Rachel to stay, yet he knew she didn't belong in their world. Still, when he saw the tears in Emma's eyes, his heart ached. Finally, Richard exhaled heavily. "We'll discuss this at home, Rachel. But for now." His eyes swept the room, resting reluctantly on Adam. "I see this place means something to you." Rachel straightened, her hand still clasping Emma's. "It means everything." And for the first time, Richard Morgan realized his daughter's heart might be richer than all his wealth combined. The Carter house felt unusually heavy. The quiet warmth Rachel cherished had given way to a silence that pressed against the walls. Adam sat on the couch edge, staring at bills scattered across his desk, while Rachel lingered by the window, gripping the curtain tightly. Emma, sensing the unspoken tension, huddled with her stuffed rabbit, her usual cheer replaced by a quiet worry. Finally Adam spoke, his voice low but steady. "Rachel, your father's right. You don't belong here." Rachel turned sharply, her eyes flashing with hurt. "Don't say that. I chose to be here with you with Emma." He sighed, rubbing his temples. "You're different. Anyone can see it. Your manners, how you carry yourself, even your subtle acts of kindness. I should have realized you weren't just another student. Rachel stepped closer. So what if I'm different? That doesn't change how I feel about this place. Adam looked up, his dark eyes weary. You deserve more than creaky floorboards and patched shoes. You deserve safety, comfort, things I can't give you. Rachel's voice trembled, yet she stood tall. Do you think comfort matters more than love? More than laughter around a small dinner table? Do you think a mansion full of servants feels like home? Adam hesitated, her words stirring something deep within him, but his pride spoke louder. Rachel, your father can give you everything. I can barely give Emma enough. Emma, who had been silent, suddenly burst out. But you give me everything, Daddy. Her small voice cracked, tears welling. She ran to Rachel, clutching her hand. And Rachel makes us happy. Please don't make her go. Rachel knelt beside Emma, hugging her tightly. I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart, she whispered, though her own eyes welled with tears. Adam's chest tightened at the sight. He desperately wanted to believe her, wanted her to stay. But reality seemed to weigh heavier than any hope. That evening, Richard Morgan returned, fully expecting Rachel to have packed. Instead, he found her at the dinner table with Adam and Emma, sharing a simple meal of soup and bread. Emma was giggling, Rachel smiling softly, and Adam, though quiet, watched them with an expression Richard couldn't quite decipher. Richard's voice boomed. Rachel, enough of this nonsense. Come home. Rachel rose to her feet. Home, Dad? This feels more like home than that mansion ever did. Richard frowned. You're blinded by sentiment. This man, he pointed at Adam, can't give you stability. Adam stood, his jaw tight. He's right. I can't. His words pierced Rachel's heart like a knife. He turned to her, forcing strength into his voice. Rachel, you need to go with him. You'll have a future there. Rachel shook her head fiercely. My future is my choice, and right now I choose to stay. A profound silence descended. Emma's small hand clutched Rachel's, her tear-streaked face looking between the adults. Why can't she stay with us forever? She pleaded. For once, Richard was silent. His daughter's defiance, the child's raw innocence, and Adam's quiet dignity all struck him at once. He saw not merely a struggling father, but a man who carried love with a strength no fortune could ever replicate. Rachel's voice softened. Dad, can't you see? Here, I'm not a millionaire's daughter. I'm just me, and that's all I want to be. Richard slowly exhaled, his shoulders dropping. For the first time, his unwavering certainty faltered. Adam, torn between pride and a deep longing, looked at Rachel, knowing that no matter the decision, nothing would ever truly be the same again. The night following Richard Morgan's confrontation cast a long shadow. Rachel barely slept, her mind a battlefield between loyalty to her father and the profound warmth of the Carter home. Adam paced the small living room, burdened by unspoken emotions. Emma, innocent yet acutely perceptive, clutched her rabbit, as if fearing everything might vanish. The next morning, Richard returned, this time without the sharp authority of a businessman. His suit jacket draped over his arm, his face etched with exhaustion, he looked less like a tycoon and more like a weary father. Rachel, he began, his voice softer. I don't understand why you've chosen this life, but I see you've found something here that money never gave you. Rachel's eyes widened. You mean, you'll let me stay? Richard hesitated, then nodded slowly. If this is what you truly want, then yes. I won't force you, but at least allow me to ensure you're cared for. His gaze shifted to Adam. And you, Mr. Carter, you've done something I could not. You gave my daughter a sense of belonging. Adam stiffened. I didn't do anything extraordinary. Richard shook his head. Extraordinary doesn't always mean expensive. Sometimes it's simply human. A fragile peace settled over the room. Richard didn't try to take Rachel away again. Instead, he quietly asked, what do you need? Adam began to protest, but Rachel spoke first. We don't need anything. We already have what matters. Yet Richard wasn't blind. He noticed the worn shoes by the door, the patched curtains, the stack of unpaid bills. His fortune had bought him power, but standing here, he realized these people possessed something priceless, love. He cleared his throat. At least allow me to support Emma's schooling. Consider it my way of thanking you for looking after Rachel. Adam hesitated, pride warring with practicality. But when Emma's eyes lit up at the mention of school, he finally nodded. All right, but nothing more. Rachel smiled through her tears. Thank you, Dad. Life slowly settled into a new rhythm. Rachel continued her classes, still living upstairs. Emma thrived, now boasting new school supplies and shoes, though she still insisted her favorite part of the day was Rachel's bedtime stories. Adam remained cautious, but each evening, returning from work to find Rachel and Emma laughing together, softened the protective walls around his heart. She had become more than a tenant, she was family. One evening as the three sat down to dinner, Rachel caught Adam's gaze. For a moment the silence spoke volumes. The gratitude he couldn't vocalize, the affection she couldn't yet confess. Emma broke the quiet with her cheerful voice. "This feels like forever, doesn't it?" Adam chuckled softly. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" Emma grinned. "Like Rachel will always be here. Like we're a real family." Rachel's throat tightened, but she smiled. Maybe forever starts with moments like this. Later that night, Richard stood outside the house, watching through the window as laughter filled the small dining room. For the first time in years, he didn't see his daughter as the lonely girl in a mansion. He saw her happy, truly happy, he whispered to himself. Perhaps she was right all along. Inside, Adam, Rachel, and Emma clinked their glasses of water in a simple toast. No grand feast, no chandeliers, just warmth, laughter, and belonging. And as Rachel looked around the modest room, she realized the truth she had been chasing all along. Sometimes the richest treasures are not found in fortune, but in the hearts that open their doors.